The Definition of Love by Andrew Marvell. My love is of a birth as rare as these, for object strange and high. It was begotten by despair upon impossibility. Magnanimous despair alone could show me so divine a thing, where feeble hope could never have flown, but vainly flapped its tinsel wing. And yet I quickly might arrive where my extended soul is fixed, but fate does iron wages dry, and always crowds itself betwixt. For fate with a jealous eye does see two perfect loves, nor lets them close. Their union would her ruin be, and her tyrannic power depose. And therefore her decrees of steel us as the distant poles have placed, though love's whole world on us doth will, not by themselves to be embarrassed, unless the giddy heaven fall, and earth some new convulsion tear, and, us to join, the world should all be crammed into a plain sphere, as lines, so loved oblique may well themselves in every angle greet, but ours, so truly parallel, though infinite, can never meet. Therefore, the love which us doth bind, but fate so enviously debars, is the conjunction of the mind and opposition of the stars.
In the poem, The Definition of Love, Andrew Marvell has spiritualized love. This poem describes the character of the poet's love for his beloved. According to Marvell, this love is perfect and therefore unattainable. This love is divine, but for that very reason, hopeless. Perfect love of this kind is most unwelcome to fate, who therefore never permits the union of perfect lovers. This kind of perfect love can mean only a spiritual union, but never a physical one.
The title, Definition of Love, means he is trying to apply logic to an illogical concept, love. This is rather typical of a metaphysical poet. It's quite significant that there is no mention of the subject of his love, but more the feeling of love itself, its limitations and the concept itself. Marvell personifies both hope and fate. Hope is portrayed as beautiful yet feeble. Fate is portrayed as jealous and tyrannical. However, this tyranny prevails, and fate crowds itself betwixt, preventing them from ever living as lovers. If they had defied fate, their love would have been so perfect they would have ruined fate.
The concepts used in this poem are also typical of a metaphysical poem. The first is of the two poles, evoking images of two separate poles in the world. Here he applies a geographical distance between him and his lover to communicate the consequences of fate between them, perhaps circumstance or differences of status. The structure used is also very interesting. In each stanza is a contained sentence. It puts forward an argument. The idea of Marvell doing this is also reinforced by words that one may see in an argument like therefore. He also points out that eternal love could only exist through separation. For example, that while some loves may exist together, they will have a defined end, while his love is infinite as it never meets its partner. A somewhat ironic truth, though the previous theories seem much better suited in regards to the poems as a whole. Perhaps it, however, that was something he wished to make a small point about. He also seemed to be expressing the limits of the power of fate. while initially it was the fate that controlled the situation, with iron wedges. By the end of the poem, we see that love can still in some senses prevail, binding the two together, and so there is a conjunction of the mind despite the opposition of the stars. And in this love still manages to partially prevail. He also shows that analogies of opposite global poles and parallel lines. Thus the whole poem is a kind of logically developed argument. The whole poem is characterized by metaphysical wit. Fate also plays an important role in this poem. However, in this poem, we find the touch of Platonic love, where spirit, soul, and mind dominate the theme.
So, from the above discussion, we can say that the attitude and mood of Marvell in this poem, the definition of love, is full of gloom and frustrations as the lover is painfully aware of the impossibility of his union with the beloved.